Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Okay. Now, as you may have noticed, fortunately, I have a lot of gongs. We're not exactly in the Overflow room. We're in my normal spot, but I brought the gong so that we would know that we're doing Overflow room videos. We're continuing Handel, and I'm doing this by popular demand. Now, this being the world of classical music, popular demand means at least 2 people requested it. And because I have so much Handel, and it's all over the place, and most of it was actually upstairs, not downstairs, I'm going to continue working with Handel for, oh, God knows how long this is going to take now. Now, my Handel collection sort of arose from a variety of sources. First, there was just my Handel collection, all the Handel that I collected, and Handel was just an enormously prolific composer, and so you accumulate it over the course of 40 years of music criticism. I mean, whether you like it or not, you get lots of it, because you have to review it and whatnot. And so I had a pretty considerable amount of Handel, and most of that we've discussed in the Overflow room. That was, 16 videos worth of stuff. However, I don't know, a decade and a half ago or so, some time ago, I wrote a book about Handel. And in writing a book about Handel, as any of my books about the composers that I've done, and there are 16 of them, I wanted to hear everything that I could possibly get my hands on. One, so that I could speak about his, output in a sensible way in the book. And second, these books originally were issued with CDs attached to them, or links to, the music somewhere on the web, or however it worked. And I had to select music. And I had to select music from labels that had agreed to allow the stuff to be licensed. And so I wound up listening to tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff to accumulate and put together the listening lists. And also, we didn't always know which labels we were going to be working with. I just wound up just getting tons and tons of Handel. And most of that is up here somewhere. Not necessarily alphabetized, but it's up here. And, well, it is alphabetized. It's mostly under H now. We've got most of it alphabetized. So while we may not cover everything I have of Handel in my main collection, we are going to cover everything I subsequently acquired and stored elsewhere, because it was such a big pile of stuff I couldn't put it with the main collection. So some of it's in another shelf over there, and some of it's over there. We're going to get through it. And so this is sort of Overflow Room Plus, and I hope you enjoy it. And it occurs to me, looking over this stuff, that these are actually useful videos to establish at least what the discography was. What was out there, what is out there, so that, people can demand things and know, how to plan their listening or look for things. And, it's documentary in quality, let's put it that way. We're documenting the Handel discography, as much of it as we can. And it's pretty infinite, actually. Then there's one other thing, by the way, that, sort of determined my Handel collection, and that's duplication. Duplicate recordings of things, because I had my main collection in Brooklyn and all of the Overflow room stuff and more, things that I subsequently acquired in Connecticut, in the barn at my parents' house at the time, which has since been sold and is now gone. And the barn stuff is now downstairs in the Overflow room. So there is some duplication. I had things in Connecticut and things in Brooklyn, and things that I really liked or that were important, I had duplicates of. It was just easier that way, to have a stash in one place and a stash in another, rather than lugging it all back and forth if I had to listen to it. It was convenient, and I'm a stickler for convenience. I really am. So, we're working through Handel, and today we are going to talk about, we have Theodora. Now, Naxos was one of the very kind labels that worked with my publisher at the time that these books were coming out. Most of them, I think, are out of print now. I'm trying to do something to revive them, but God knows what's going to be. And Because Naxos was willing to allow us to license their product, I had to listen to all the Naxos recordings I could. So there were a lot of them. And Naxos has this series of oratorios featuring Joachim Carlos Martini and the Frankfurt Baroque Orchestra. Now, these vary in quality. Some of them are quite good, some of them are not. Some of the singers are good, some of them are so-so. And in most cases, the big name productions are probably preferable, but a lot of these are really very, very decent. And Theodora is just, one of those works that it seems to bring out the best in everybody who does it. And this is a lovely performance. It really is. I mean, you get the whole thing, almost 3 hours of it. The singers are Christina Wieland, Diana Schmidt, Franz Witztum, Knut Schoch, and Klaus Mertens. Basically, that's the group. They're not all famous singers, but they're good singers. The Frankfurt Baroque Orchestra I find a little bit anemic in sound, as often as not, but that's true of a lot of period instrument things. And Martini leads a lively and effective performance of the work. So I've kept most of them, and I enjoy them. So there's that Theodora. Then we've got the Paul McCreesh Solomon. Oh, yes, Solomon. Now, this has Andreas Scholl, who is, one of the new group of countertenors who are actually tolerable. He's a good singer. He's a talented artist. I still prefer a female singer in these roles, as Handel would have done 99% of the time. But it's a very good cast. We've got Inger Dam Jensen as Solomon's queen. We have the two harlots, my favorite roles. Alison Hagley and Susan Bickley. I just can't get over, what it must look like on the resume of these singers. What have you done? Oh, I sang second harlot. It's just great. I just find that hilarious. That's me. Let's see. The Queen of Sheba is Susan Gritton. Zadok the priest is Paul Agnew. And Peter Harvey is a Levite. Pick your Levite. Anyone. With the Gabrielli consort and players. Solomon has those 8-part choruses. It's staggering, fabulous work, and so much fun. So I collect Solomons. I just keep them all. Samson, look at this little goodie. This is the Harnoncourt Samson, 2 CDs worth. It is a pretty chopped down version of Samson, actually, but it has some very good singing. I mean, Anthony Rolfe Johnson, Roberta Alexander, Johann Kowalski, and Alastair Miles, and Anton Scharinger, and some other people. Christophe Prigardien is a Philistine and a messenger. Boy, this is when he was a kid, right? This was recorded live in, does it say? 1993. So, Harnoncourt's Handel could be quite strange. It really is. And this is not really competitive with the best Samsons that are now out there. There are a bunch of them, and they're really excellent. And, this is sort of for the singers, if you want those singers. Harnoncourt doesn't bring much to the picture that's helpful, I think, in this performance. Then, of course, there's our favorite Messiah, our reference recording, or however choice, the Pinnock Messiah, which is absolutely a knockout, and I don't know how many of these I have, but I try and keep one in every room of the house, and in every suitcase, and in the toaster oven, and wherever you need a Messiah, I have this Messiah. It's glorious, fabulous. We've talked about it a million times, and we don't have to do it again, because last in this batch is something fascinating. Handel's Orestes. Orestes. Now, this is a pasticcio. Handel produced 3 of them based on his own music. There are others based on other people's music. A pasticcio is simply a new libretto set to old music from his previous operas. And so this contains, and Handel's pasticcios are wonderful because they contain his greatest hits from all of those operas. They weren't always successful. People wanted new things. They wanted new wardrobes and new stuff, and but musically, I mean, we can see what's in here. It tells us what actually, this consists mostly of music from Radamisto, Floridante, Ottone, Tamerlano, Riccardo Primo, Ciro, Lotario, Partenope, and Sosarmi. as well as stuff from Terpsichore and Ariana in Creta. That's the concluding chorus. The overture comes from his early cantata, Cor Fidele, and there's a little bit from Agrippina, his first opera from 1709. So there's like his whole career in these things, and they're great ways to listen to like great Handel arias. I mean, because they're all good. And the story is fine. He wrote new recitatives, a few new pieces in here, probably. It has some ballet music. It's really a lovely work, and this is a fine performance, featuring the Camerata Stuttgart under George Petru, who knows how to do this stuff really well. The cast is Mariellen Nessi as Oresti, thank God, not a countertenor. Maria Mitsopoulou and Mata Katsuli, and again, you're not going to know who all these people are. Let's put it that way. It doesn't matter. There is a countertenor, by the way, Nicholas Spanos, in the tiny role of Filotetti. So there you go. And I remember talking about, by the way, countertenors with my good friend and Handel specialist, Antonio de Almeida, who said, yeah, you never use countertenors. You should never use countertenors. The only time Handel used a countertenor, he said, I think in one of the operas there's like a role for a servant where, they walk in and they go, dinner is served, and that's about as far as Handel would go with countertenors. So unless it was church music where they didn't allow women, but where he could get women, he used them. So here we have Oresti, a wonderful pasticcio on MD and G with George Petru. Here it is. I mean, just so you want to look at that a little bit more closely. They're definitely worth hearing. They're fun. And the better you know Handel's other operas, the source material for these things, the more fun they get. So I had a wonderful time, finding all these things and getting a chance to listen to them. They are fun. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.